Hey guys, it's Jen with JCT Rustic Homestead, and I'm actually really excited to show you what I have coming up. My goal was to start these seeds this week. It is May 14th today. I wanted to start them around the 15th of May, and I don't know why. I'm just excited about it. So I thought I'd show you what I'm going to do. I am going to plant several different kinds of Indian corn, and that might not seem like a big deal, but it kind of is. First of all, I thought Indian corn was just the stuff that you saw in the stores, you know, around fall, and they were for decorations. But little did I know how many kinds of Indian corn there are. There's got to be at least 50 to 100 different varieties of Indian corn, if not more. So you have your traditional Indian corn that you see all the time. I've saved some seed from that, and we tried planting it last year, and some of it grew and produced ears. They didn't pollinate the best, but they still did something. So I have some of that. Actually, I have two different bags of that. This one is a little bit more red. This is a little bit more red toned. If you can, nope. I'm learning here, guys. Alright, this one is just your general Indian corn. This is actually 2-year-old seed, so I don't know for sure if it's going to germinate. But some of these kernels are really cool because they're striated. They have stripes on them. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that either. Alright, so that's your general Indian corn. And it is not just for decoration. Indians actually used it. You know? They had a purpose. The Indian corn today still has purpose. You know, those corn tortillas, they don't come from just anywhere. The blue corn tortillas come from blue Indian corn. The purple ones, there is even some purple strains of Indian corn. There's also a glass gem Indian corn. I have seeds saved from that. And you'll just have to Google it for a better picture. I apologize. But I'm going to do some glass gem variety that I saved from an ear of corn. I'm also going to do blue popcorn. This is from M.I. Gardner. It is blue popcorn. It's called miniature blue popcorn. I think I almost got the pink, but I figured everybody has the pink. Why not try blue? M.I. Gardner also had blue Hopi corn. It says it's traditionally grown by the Hopi Native Americans in Arizona. It has 30% more protein content than any other field corn. An outstanding flavor when dried and ground into flour, perfect for blue corn tortillas. So that's another thing. There's different types of corn, even within the Indian corn. There's corn for flour. There's corn for meal. There's corn for popping. It depends on how hard the kernels are. Alright, so that's 2 blue varieties. Last year we grew broom corn, and we're going to do it again this year. This is mostly ornamental broom corn, and it does not have an ear like you would see the Indian corn. The commodity for this is the tassel on this variety. There's other varieties of sorghum. Broom corn is a variety of sorghum that you press either for sorghum syrup, or you pop, or mill into flour. A lot of your gluten-free products will actually be made out of sorghum, but this is for more ornamental. It has some beautiful fall colors in it. I'm not going to start this today. We're going to do it directly in the field, and I actually have like a 5-pound bag of it, but I had purchased this before I got the giant bag. Alright, and the last kind of Indian corn that I'm going to plant is podcorn. And there are some theories that it's a precursor to the regular Indian corn, but then people are like, no, it's just a genetic anomaly. But these are 2 kernels, but if you can see this, there is literally a pod around the kernel. Inside this pod is a kernel. Let's see. So I'm just going to try to pop this out. Hopefully you can kind of see it. I apologize that my camera doesn't focus very well. But see, here's the husk on the kernel. and then inside is the actual corn kernel. Now, I don't know if you're supposed to plant it in the pod or out of the pod. We may have to do some experimentation with it, but I have one that has this more purpley husk to it, and then I have one that's a white and red kind of husk. Oh, and there's a little bit of purple in there, so it just depends on how it cross-pollinated. This is kind of a white, but on the inside it has some reddish color. This has some purple going through it. Now, one of the big things, we're also growing sweet corn, and I think that's it. The broom corn, sweet corn, and then all these different kinds of corn. The hard part about growing corn, they will cross-pollinate. So, if you want pure strains of corn, you're going to have to plant them separately, and I don't know how many feet for sure they need to be apart, but look it up. But they will need to be several feet, if not a couple hundred yards apart from each other. Because how corn actually produces their kernel, regardless of the variety, except for broom corn, because that's completely different. We're not talking about that. But when the tassel comes out of the stalk of corn, the ear comes out along with it. And then the pollen from the tassel filters down, and you know those silks, the hairy things that come out of the end of the corn, that pollinates the kernels. So if those silks don't get all pollinated, you have poor germination of the kernel inside the ear of corn. And that means if you plant 2 or more kinds of corn together, and corn A starts pollinating, but the ear on corn B is facing it, or too close, that A can cross with B. So you're gonna get a mixture of corn. So I'm not sure I'm going to worry too much about purity of strain other than our sweet corn, because the Indian corn can cross-pollinate with the sweet corn, and it will make the sweet corn not as good. It could make it harder, discolored, something. I'm not really sure, but we are keeping our sweet corn completely separate from the Indian corn so we don't cross-pollinate. So I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer. Maybe we can get a better focus on the seeds, and then I'll show you how I'm going to start these, because I am starting them in the greenhouse in trays. I'm going to start them in 72 cell flats, because we have had a history of mole problems. We plant a row of corn or 8 rows of corn, and the moles just go down the line and eat all the kernels of corn before they can ever germinate and get to a good size. So I'm going to start them in the greenhouse. I've seen it done, but not a lot. And then once they get big enough where I feel like the moles aren't going to get them, or turkeys will even eat them, they'll go down a line of corn and eat all the seedlings. But we're just going to have to take our chances with that. So I'm going to bring you in so you can see the flats, and I'll try to get some closer images of the corn. This is what we have. I also forgot earth tone corn. This is they're just a milder color. They're super pretty. These actually look like they've been a little bit cross-pollinated, but we'll see how the ears turn out. So this is more of the red Indian corn. Some varieties of redder Indian corn are like butcher's blood or something like that. Earth tone, glass gem, and then your regular Indian corn, and hopefully you can kind of see the striations on there. This is the broom corn that I will plant probably around June 1st. I think based on last year I'm going to do June 1st. Here's the Hopi, blue Hopi by M.I. Gardner. The miniature blue popcorn. The podcorn, this is the red and white kind of. And then this is the purple podcorn. And all these I kind of salvaged from decoration ears. So there could be some cross-pollination from them, but I'm not super particular at this point. If we get so that the Indian corn is turning into a real business for us. I will probably select fewer varieties just to make sure that we aren't cross-pollinating too much. But these are, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different kinds of Indian corn, plus the broom corn, plus sweet corn. We have a lot of corn going on, guys. So these are my 72 cell flats. I use them for starting a lot of plants this spring. I also use the regular compost in here, like I did for all the other plants. I have access to it, so I'm going to use it. It's weed free, and it's a lighter soil. Other than that, I just filled them up. I watered it down because it was pretty dry. And then I'm just going to, I have a little bit of room from the top here. I'm just going to start planting a kernel per cell. Now, the funny thing is some Indian corns will shoot up more than one stalk from a kernel. I don't know what causes that, but I think through the history they needed a high production in small areas. So that might just be part of the genetics of the corn. I don't know if it likes to be many stalks in one area, but I know it will help with pollination. So, I might throw 2 in on some of those just to see what happens. Plus, I don't have a guaranteed germination rate. Like I said, these 2, 3 kinds of Indian corn are probably 2 years old. This is from last year, and these are 2 from last year. So, I don't know what the germination rate will be on these, but I'm just going to start putting 1 kernel per cell, and we'll see how far we get. Okay, so one thing I'm going to mention, I'm not going to plan on babying these plants. They're Indian corn. They should be hardy. They've lasted generations, but planting depth, I would say maybe a ½ inch or something. I grew up on a corn, soybean, hog farm, and you set your planter depth, but some seeds will germinate on the ground. You leave an ear of corn out in the fall, and it'll start germinating on the ground. So I'm not getting too carried away with planting depth, or eventually I won't really worry too much about spacing other than between the varieties. And so you can kind of see, I'm maybe first knuckle deep on some of them. I push them down a little bit. I am going to cover it with topsoil and water them in just to be thorough, I guess, and because we don't have rain in the greenhouse. But these are the blue Hopi. These are the mini blue popcorn. You can see how small they are. These are the more red Indian corn. This is a whole flat of regular Indian corn, and I still have several more to plant, so I got to get more flats out. So I totally forgot that a friend gifted me these Indian corn cob ears. I should say Indian corn ears. And I haven't quite decided if I'm going to plant them yet because I have so many other varieties I need to take care of, and the cross-pollination is just going to be wild if I get too many going, which I probably already have too many going, but oh well. But this she called a glass gem popcorn, and it is, you can see how small it is next to my hand. Now I do have fairly big hands for a woman, but they're really small ears. It's only about 5 inches, maybe 4 to 5 inches. And this is like a blue, so this is what I'm expecting our blue popcorn to kind of look like, maybe a little darker. And then this cob has some pink in it, and then you can see the different tones coming out, but this is very similar to the glass gem corn I planted, and you can just see how beautiful it is when it's on the ear. These kernels are a little smaller than my glass gem, but that's totally fine. But if you get ears of corn like this, separate out like these pink kernels from the blue, and the genetics may give you a blue ear, but you might start breeding more of those pink tones in your ears of corn. It's interesting how you can start breeding to a certain type or just planting, but you do have to watch your pollination. As I've said, like this one has some really cool green color, and then this is your, you know, your yellow, orange, reds. And then this is some leftover silk. That was another reason why I wanted to show this to you, is because you can kind of see those hairs on there, and those are the silks. Each kernel has a silk that goes to the top of the ear, and when the husk is pulled up, you know, it comes out the top, and then when the tassel comes out, it pollinates these silks, and it goes down to the individual kernels. I keep talking about cross-pollinating. There are a few ways that you can reduce the cross-pollination to, and maybe even eliminate it. One is space, you know, how far you plant your varieties apart from each other, and I don't remember that number. I did mention that earlier. Another way to reduce the amount of cross-pollination, I can't say eliminate it necessarily, is timing. Each variety will mature, pollinate, grow at different rates and times. So if you have a 120-day Indian corn versus a 90-day sweet corn, and you plant them at the same time, your sweet corn is going to tassel, produce ears, and pollinate sooner than your 120-day Indian corn. I'm hoping that by planting all these at the same time, they will miraculously pollinate at different times, but I doubt that. I don't know what point the podcorn tassels or pollinates or matures or anything, because I can't find the information on it. And considering how similar my regular Indian corn, my glass gem corn, and my earth tone corn are, I'm guessing that they're going to grow at about the same rate. Now, I did not get, this is like 2 days later from when I first started the video, I did not get this color podcorn planted yet. I got glass gem, purple podcorn, and I did half with the pods on and half with just the plain kernels. I'm hoping they'll both germinate, but the podcorn in general is just a huge experiment. I can't find a lot of information on it. I have some red Indian corn, but I want to get more in there, and that's the Bloody Butcher type. I don't know that it is actually that variety, but it's very similar. My mini blue popcorn, my blue Hopi corn, my earth tone corn, and I think that flat is my regular Indian corn. So I still have this variety, and I wanted to do more red. And let's see, I got 5 flats already times 72, so that's about 350, 360 seeds, but not everything will germinate, and not everything will produce. Like, the ears might not pollinate right. I want full ears like this. You know, every kernel has been pollinated, but if that silk doesn't send the information down to the kernel, you're going to get, you can barely see it right in there where the kernels didn't pollinate. Those they just chipped out. They might have had some mold or something, but you know, I want full ears because that's what people want to buy. They don't want to buy half an ear of corn. We'll see what happens, and I will do my best to take you along, especially for some of these varieties that's a little bit more of a experiment slash new thing. I guess that is the definition of an experiment. But I am really interested in seeing how the podcorn turns out. I just hope it doesn't cross-pollinate too horribly with the other corn. And maybe it won't even produce the pods the right way. I don't know. I've never grown it before. So, thank you for joining me on this crazy adventure. We've started it on May 14, 15, 16 area. Hopefully I can get this last bit planted. I got a ton more work to do in the garden. Check us out at jctrustickhomestead.com. Consider subscribing to our channel. It really helps us. Liking, commenting also helps us. We're also on Facebook if you want more updates and farm pictures and stuff like that. We have a newsletter going on. And a plant sale checklist. Got a lot going on. So, anyway, everybody have a great day.